Hello YouTube, I finally completed my Aztec 900D build, my Aztec Dark Knight 900D build. Sorry about that. It's finally completed. It took me a couple months to get it all together. RMA parts, waiting for parts to be released. You know, just take a while. You know, it took me a while to get everything, you know, hooked up and set up. You know, bending all the acrylic and stuff. So I finally got done with it, and the build log should be updated pretty soon. I have it in overclock.net. Just look for the Aztec Dark Knight, and you can see a full detailed build log with pictures, videos, and all kinds of stuff. So here is the 900. It's based on 900D case with custom laser graphics. That's all pretty much lasered. The paint was burned off and exposed the bare aluminum, so that's what you see. The window is custom made. It's also laser cut and engraved. That is not the original window that was on there. Another thing that I added was graphics on the side there. Caifanes, my favorite Mexican rock band. So turn the lights off. I'm gonna remove the panel and go through all the components. Yikes, that was a bad hit. Yikes. Okay, starting with the core components, we have Intel Core i7 4930K clocked at 4.5 gigahertz, 16 gigabytes of G.Skill Trident X memory, rated at 2400 megahertz, and the timings are 9, 11, 11, 31. The motherboard is an Asus Rampage 4 Black Edition. You can see the rear I/O cover in the back. I don't think you're gonna be able to read the letters, but that's what that board is. It's two EVGA GTX Titans. One is a super clock edition. One is just a regular standard Titan. Those are, it's hard to see the power supply, but it's a EVGA SuperNova G1300 G2 gold rated power supply, and it's also custom sleeve. So I got the sleeves from MD $1 Million PC from Germany. I did all the work myself. I did all the sleeving. We have a Samsung 840 SSD, a Crucial 128 gigabyte benching SSD that I use, and a 2 terabyte mechanical hard drive for all my mass storage and stuff. So, you know, those are the core components, and they're all, like I said, on a 900D case, which it's hard to see. It's hard to look at a 900D that's actually packed, that's actually full. Well, mine is not full, where it's like everything's stuffed in there, but I think pieces just fit in just right, except for the top radiator. What else am I missing? Well, for the core components, I also have an LG Blu-ray burner, the NZXT LED Hue controller, which does a pretty nice job with the lighting effects and stuff. You know, switches modes, and you can just power it off if you don't want it on. So that's that for the main components. For the water cooling components, all of my blocks are EK blocks, and I have EK Supremacy Elite Nickel CPU block. Originally I started with nickel GPU blocks as well, but the nickel started to flake off and corrode, so I requested copper block replacements from EK. They took care of me real good, but that, you know, that took a little bit of while, and you know, that's one of the setbacks I had from, you know, that prevented me from finishing the build. I'm using Primichill Rigid Revolver compression fittings. They don't compress the acrylic, they compress the O-ring into the acrylic, you know, to avoid leaks. and I'm using 16 of those all throughout, and I wanted to avoid using right angle fittings. I wanted all the bends from the acrylic. I didn't want to cheat and just use straight acrylic pipes and fancy fittings. I just wanted to, you know, get the bends. Obviously my bends are imperfect. This is my first time bending acrylic, so there's a lot of room for improvement. However, I ran out of the full 24 feet of acrylic that I bought, so that went by pretty fast. That's a Bitspower 250 Z-Tank reservoir. The radiators are Alphacool, Monsta, Nexxxos, Monsta 480 radiators. One at the top, one at the bottom, as shown. For the pump, I'm using a Swiftech MCP 655 multi-speed pump. It's actually pretty good. It's killing it on the flow rate, you know. Adding the memory blocks or the motherboard blocks didn't cause any problems. Speaking about motherboard blocks, I skipped those blocks. They're also from EK, and to install the top one you have to remove that IO shield unless you cut the heat pipe right off. So I did that. I cut the heat pipe off, and that's how I was able to manage to stuff the blocks in there along that sexy IO cover. So that's what I did. Let's take a look at the front of the case. Get some light up in here. I gotta get a tripod. Let's remove this. Let's place it down there, so I can show you guys the front of it. I only used 2 right angle fittings, one here on the top port for the radiator. The other right angle fitting I used was on the top of the rest. Hard to see, but those are the 2 right angles that I use. You can see the pump is there, and all the piping, all the wires. Now let's get over on this side and show you a little bit more. That's the pump. I did the custom sleeving on the power supply. That took me a good while. The radiator fans are Corsair SP120 Performance Edition, which I'm gonna be replacing pretty soon with Sky General Typhoons. They are pretty much the best fans you can get. They're even better than Nexxxos, and they look a million times better than Nexxxos fans. Nexxxos fans, you know, they may perform okay. They're alright. They're certainly not the best, and they just look awful, especially on black cases. They don't look too bad on like white cases or silver cases, but on black cases I think they just look horrific. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people like them or whatever, but yeah. Well, those are my components. You can see the big radiator and stuff. Like I said, I have a full detailed build log on overclock.net. Just look for Aztec Dark Knight. And before I go, I just wanted to mention some of the custom work, like the SLI bridge. That's all laser cut and etched. The 900D mid plate, which is this plate right there. That's also laser cut and engraved. The motherboard has that mirror type finish in the back, but it pretty much hides all the unused ports and rubber grommets. Just makes it look a lot nicer, in my opinion. That's also laser cut and engraved. No, wait, I didn't engrave that, but I did engrave was this panel, which has in loving memory of Hobo Robles. My stepdad passed away early this year. That was another setback for me completing this build. And that's pretty much it, guys. That's my build. I'm using EK coolant, which has a yellowish tint, and you can't really see it actually. I mean, the stuff looks pretty clear on the lines. Just on the reservoir you do see that yellow tint. Especially during the daylight, you'll be able to see it. with the window remover. Once I put the window on, really can't see it. And all my peripherals are actually right here too. It's my desk keyboard. I made a separate video on this. My BenQ XL2420 TX monitor, which is 120 Hz. It's a 1080p monitor, but it's a lot better than the 1440 I had for games. I couldn't stand the 60 Hz anymore, so I moved over to that. You can see my router. What else did I got for you? Oh, my headset. Just Razer Timet 7.1 surround headset, Razer Naga mouse, my Specs mouse pad, and another custom work that I did, and I mentioned it before in other videos, is Trident X ramp. I removed the stickers, exposing the bare black aluminum. And what I did was I sandblasted the red top off to just leave it like natural aluminum, and engrave the letters on the memory modules. It's hard to tell, but you know it's there. I've been running the system for a few days, and you know some of the bubbles look like they've been purging out. So that's why that's why the reservoir is not topped off. I need to top it off. So I have to do separate videos for like reviews on the motherboard. I did promise that, but I wanted to use it and understand the board a little bit before I can get a review out there. And based on my components, like I said, the only thing I'll be changing will be fans. Be adding 8 Sky Gentle Typhoons on the top and bottom radiator, so 4 on each radiator. I'm going to be upgrading to the Asus Swift monitor. It's a 1440p 2560 by 1440 at 120 Hz natively, and it comes with G.Sync, so that's going to be sexy. I also want to change my headset to a Sennheiser Gain Zero. That looks pretty good too, and maybe add a sound card like the Asus Sonar Phobos. Those are minor upgrades. Basically my main build is completed, so thank you for watching, and any questions or comments, feel free to ask. I have some of the benchmarks up on separate videos, so thanks for watching, and peace out, people.